including the cases of Melissa Rojas, Rebelin Vitao, James Balao, Father Lucero, are also being investigated by the Commission on Human Rights. Of course, everybody's focus is on the Maguindanao carnage. So it's just but fitting that I start my reaction to this report in respect of the incident sponsorship of the Ambatuans. And I think nobody would seriously dispute the claim of state sponsorship against a backdrop of what Karapatan calls state sponsorship terrorism, where alleged enemies of the state are neutralized, abducted, and or tortured. There appears to be a very contradicting policy of supporting political elites that can be characterized as warlords and thus elements that sow their own brand of terror propagates. The reference to the principle of local autonomy does not justify the neglect or tolerance of the national government of unbridled power consolidated by local political dynasties such as the Ambatuans through intimidation and force. What happened in Maguindanao was just a flashing point, a tipping point of years of neglect and tolerance. The lamentation of national officials and some members of local police in Maguindanao are subservient to the local political elite only underscores the neglect of the national government. The PNP is a national agency, and the authority of the local chief executives over members of the locally detailed police force, I suppose, only pertains to operations. The central office of the PNP should have been better able to monitor their own men in Maguindanao to prevent collusion between the Ambatuans and the local police. So the claim of local autonomy is not for us an excuse. The same goes for the allegations that local judges are partial towards the local ruling clan. The Supreme Court must be able to address not only the sudden absence of judges en masse, but also the culture of beholdenness of local judges to local political elites responsible for their appointment as such. I don't know whether you got already, we issued yesterday our advisory on the Maguindanao situation. It's a very comprehensive advisory addressed to all relevant agencies of government, including Congress, especially with this issue on the proclamation of martial law, and even to media. Our advisory is also directed to media. Now, it becomes clear that the Ambatuans have not consolidated power to carry out impunity only by a larger governmental policy which consents impliedly or overtly to warlordism. There are serious questions now over government efforts to dismantle all private armies, and it has yet to be seen if political will can be sustained. They're showing some political will and resolve at the moment, but cannot be sustained. This has direct implications on anti-insurgency operations, as it is known that CAFGUS and CBO operate with the AFP on military operations. Karapatan has reported other instances of atrocities attributed to CAFGUS and CBOs. For example, the Lope de Vega massacre in Samar, which is actually related also to the killing of Father Lucero. That is the problem of arming civilians or civilian elements who are without adequate training and, most importantly, accountability. Legal basis for the utilization of such civilian components is actually wanting. I don't buy the explanation that it is actually sanctioned by 546. I've been reading and rereading 546, and I don't see it as the proper legal basis for the arming of CBOs and CAPCOs. But I understand that it is the one being cited, which is of dubious validity. From news reports covering the FOCA press conference yesterday, government officials have stated that they have known of the amassing of weapons by the Ambatuans. It becomes an unacceptable excuse that action is only being taken now, but there is tremendous public outrage following the Maguindanao massacre, which could have been avoided altogether had there been a steady and consistent manner of upholding the rule of law. Now let me go now to the manner of investigating the massacre. By the way, may I announce that tomorrow the forensic expert, which the Commission has, the services of which the Commission has staffed, Dr. Baraybat, in our parallel investigation, will be conducting a press briefing tomorrow on the initial findings and observations as a result of the on-site investigation that he conducted with the assistance of our own team. He will be in the FOCA conference, FOCA briefing tomorrow, and we will accompany him there. He just arrived yesterday from Maguindanao. Now, going back to the manner of investigating the massacre, it has been observed that the police and law enforcement operatives did not secure the crime scene of the Maguindanao massacre. Obtaining sufficient evidence begins with very careful regard for crime scene forensic evidence. Now, although the securing was actually more on the physical securing, meaning there was a battalion or a unit from the military which secured the area, but as to the pieces of evidence there, the debris, the items, that was not done until the CHR team and Dr. Barayba went there. From the looks of it, from all indications, they did not intend to go follow through or follow up on-site investigation because their focus was only on the retrieval of the corpses. Now, the CHR's investigation had pushed for a complete inventory for all evidence found at the crime scene, and not just the recovery of the bodies of victims. Now, we concur with the observations of civil society and media as to the failure to properly secure the scene of the crime, preserve vital physical evidence, and the seeming exclusive focus on the retrieval of bodies. To prevent a whitewash of the investigation, regardless of the likelihood, requires vigilance of various sectors, including the CHR, civil society, and especially the media. Now, the martial law in Maguindanao. We have issued our position on the matter. It's embodied in the advisory we released yesterday. The CHR and bank is unanimous in its position against the imposition of martial law. The proclamation number 1959, we definitely see no legal basis. It does not at all meet the requirements under the Constitution. And I was cursorily going over the report of the President to Congress last night. I went over it, and the focus there were the gory pictures. Gory pictures, the concentration of the report were the gory pictures. So you can see that what is contemplated here is more of an appeal to the emotions of members of Congress. Well, the outrage, of course the outrage is there. Of course everybody agrees that this is the most gruesome incident so far in this country. But they're missing the point. They're not addressing the issue of